The show is presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/dangle to receive 20% off your next purchase.
Yeah, or you'll look like this spider.
Well, he's nice and shaved.
Yeah,
See?
he's also
Maybe you want to.
dead. Because it's Halloween. He's
Spooky
dead.
Manscaped. Let's start the show, Jesse.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Canada's Sportsbook.
SDP. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Erik Källgren will make his first start against the team that drafted him tonight against Arizona.
Hooray.
Who knew that they've drafted him?
You ever remember something you forgot?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
If you had asked me, I would have never come up with the answer, but as soon as you tell me that, I'm like, I did know that. It was in a dusty bin in the back of my mind.
Now, we're going to play a little game called Can You Name the Starter for the Coyotes?
It's got to be Karel Vejmelka. Is it not?
I'm gonna check.
Oh.
I was like, yeah.
If it's not, it's the goalie who we put emphasis on in the Coyotes preview, and I still don't remember his name.
Oh, you know this person's name because they made a waiver wire pickup.
Oh, it's Connor Ingram.
I think it's Karel Vejmelka, but Connor Ingram is dressing tonight.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I just thought that was fun.
Oh, good for him.
By the way, it came out this weekend. It's looking like there's really no path forward between Chychrun and the Coyotes, which is it's such an interesting thing because from the outside, Chychrun looks like a guy who would be worth the money and the contract that he's probably asking for. Is he like younger John Klingberg?
I think cooler heads are prevailing here. Like it's sort of
they both said we're not going to get it done.
Well, cooler heads are prevailing usually means a deal does get done. But I think in this case, I think the league might be cooling on this guy. Because listen, young and at a good number.
And a right-handed defenseman, I believe.
I think he's left. He might play both sides, though.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. He's young and at a good number.
Mm-hmm.
Super appealing. But, the news cycle doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jakob Chychrun story has been going for months. It's been going for months. And what has become a more and more common story over those months is how the cap is going to go up. And it's going to go up in a big way. So, you could argue, well, that would make his number even better. Mm-hmm. And yes, you're right, it would. But does that also maybe decrease the need to go out and give the sun and the moon for a player like this? A player who has been out of sight and out of mind.
Yes, he's injured too. He's got a wrist injury.
And he just got over an ankle injury.
Right.
So you want me to give you 4 firsts and all of our prospect, each draft pick that we've made for the last 5 years for a guy coming off an ankle injury and a wrist injury? No, there are other players in the National Hockey League. And I think that's what teams are realizing. Is Chychrun a good one? Yep. Good value? Yep. There's other players. We'll figure it out.
I also think you need to factor in, everybody talks about how in free agency, although I do feel like the Caps got a bit of a deal with Sonny Milano. Most of the times when you're paying for a key player, you're overpaying a little bit. But you have to remember that there's the acquisition cost of players that are still going to be RFAs, right? Even if they are an RFA or if they've got a year left or 2 years left, it's whatever it costs you plus the money it'll cost to re-sign them.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm a little confused. You said the Caps got a deal with Sonny Milano?
Well, waivers got a deal. So you mean did Arizona claim him?
Well, it is 11:54 and waivers aren't announced until 2. And what I was trying to figure out in the car on the way here is tonight's puck drop is 7:07.
Could Sonny Milano make it?
Sonny Milano be in the lineup for the Coyotes tonight? 11:55.
He made a lot of sense
right
for them.
now.
He made a lot of sense
for the Coyotes.
Yeah, why not? The hell?
He might not have wanted to sign there.
Right, but now he has to.
He's signed a one-way deal, so he's getting $750 in the NHL and $750 in the minors, and that's designed to scare teams away. I don't think it's going to scare the Coyotes away because he easily makes that roster. He's not going to be playing in the minors for them.
I think if he had told them, hey, I don't want to sign there, they're not going to claim him. GMs don't do that.
They'd be like, so
GMs,
Yeah, they
even our
very
players
do.
don't want to play here.
not if somebody explicitly says I'm not going to sign a contract with you, and then you bring them in a day later. They
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that to like the agent and the player. It's not going to happen.
You're right. It's bad business,
Yeah, it's
Jesse.
bad business.
Well, Sonny Milano flies in the face of what the Coyotes are trying to accomplish because, like, he might make them better. And if they're not careful, like, this is a scary game for them in terms of their season. They're in Toronto. They're playing the Leafs, who routinely play down to their opponents. Coyotes have a very good starter. The Leafs are playing their third stringer. This is shaping up to be a 2-point disaster for the Arizona Coyotes. Connor Bedard is averaging 14 shots a game.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot screw this up by going to Toronto and winning games.
He's got 9 goals and 10 assists, I think, in 10 games.
Yeah, they're gonna
Stupid.
screw this up. I guarantee there are members of the Coyotes organization who saw that Shelgren was starting today and they went, "Damn it, no!" As they watched nothing but Regina Pat's highlights on their phone.
Jakob Chychrun's going to be an Edmonton Oiler.
You think you don't think it's going to be the Sens? Because the Sens have been on it for forever.
Friedman on Saturday night, if you missed it, said that he doesn't see a path forward between the Sens and the Coyotes. They've been talking for a little bit, and there's just been nothing developing.
Listen, Dorian's made some good trades. I'm sure he doesn't want to like.
Are you doing a bit?
No, that's what he said.
That's what the first 5 minutes of the show was.
No. We're talking.
No.
I was talking about the path forward. There's many paths forward.
Oh.
We're talking about the free agent, the contract between the Coyotes and Chychrun as well.
Oh.
No, he said there's not going to be a trade.
Oh, no.
Between the Sens specifically and
my
the Coyotes.
my conversation
But
was
Adam-
about how there was no way the Coyotes are going to re-sign him now because that
Adam
was always
says that
hanging in
the
the air.
trade is imminent between somebody, but
This is so
between the
trippy for
Sens,
me.
between the Sens in particular, Friedman did report that their trade's not imminent there.
This is trippy for me because I listened to that quote on the way here.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just like,
Well-
stop. Everyone stop saying it.
While you were on your path forward to my house,
Yes.
that's what happened. Anyway,
I think it's going to be a little bit before we see Chychrun moved. But like Edmonton right now seems like a very good candidate.
Does
to
this
draft.
feel like a Klingberg situation where like he's going to move? Nah, he didn't move. And then it's
Possibly.
next offseason?
Could be.
Mhm.
Could be. I mean,
I know it's early, but Klingberg was almost, November last year? And then it was, he's going to move. Somebody's going to make an offer. Nobody made an offer.
Yeah, like this deal, it went away. Like it really lost steam and no one was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, like the Sens need to focus on the guys they got.
Yeah.
Really, it's not desperate times there yet.
No.
They're 0-2.
Well,
But, like-
from what I understand, Ottawa radio's having a freak out this morning.
I mean,
but
yeah.
but I mean, listen, there was going to be some growing pains with this, and it's 3 games in.
I mean, are they a much improved team?
Yes.
Unanimously, we agree.
Could they have easily won in overtime on Saturday night?
Yep.
Mhm.
Do teams with lots of new players gel right away?
No,
No. Anton Forsberg looked great.
he did.
Like, that's a very important thing. Claude Giroux on the board. They're going to be fine.
Are we going to talk about Saturday?
I was going to get to
Sure.
that. I do want to. I'm going to start with what happened pregame, which was Matt Murray and the adductor injury. Now, Mike Augello tweeted this. I remember this, and I had forgotten. You ever remember something you forgot?
Yep.
Do you remember the Olympics where Hasek got injured? Everybody's talking about like this is his last run in the Olympics, and then he gets injured, and Ottawa had signed him to be their starting goaltender, and he didn't play again
Oh, wow.
after the Olympics. That is the same injury that Matt Murray sustained. Now, when you sustain an injury, obviously there's various different levels. Matt Murray, I mean, Hasek might have been close to 40 at that point too, so your recovery is a lot different. I think there might have been there's like a 14 or 15 year spread between the two of them, but Matt Murray getting this injury in a pregame warm-up before the game where he's supposed to start against his old team is not great.
Can we stop saying adductor? He strained his groin.
It's an adductor.
Like everybody kept going because that's the official medical term. Then the Leafs went with that on the PR. He's
Okay.
fucking his groin's not stretchy.
Yeah.
I think the reason they're doing that is because it's like saying your leg. Well, like what part of your leg? Like there's so much that goes into your leg. There's a lot that goes into your groin.
Yeah. Do we need to get that specific?
I don't know.
It does make a lot more sense to just go with groin. Just tell me which part of the body hurts.
See, we're talking to the layman here.
I'm a layman.
We're talking to
peasant.
regular hockey fans.
Yes.
If I say, Matt Murray's adductor, it's hurting again. Just say it's fucking groin strain. He's a goalie. All he does is stretch his groin. He can't get it right. Everything I've learned about my back and my body is from having a bad one. Or sorry, my car and my body was the line I was going to use, is by having a bad one. And by constantly going and getting it fixed, I learn about all the parts of my car and all the parts of my back. And one of the fun little muscles that I've learned about along the way is the adductor. So when they said the adductor, I'm like, that's helpful because I actually know what that is. And sometimes I get a tight adductor and I know my little routine that I have to do. Where is it?
I
think it's sort of okay.
Whip it out.
Where is it?
Well, whip it out. Show us.
Inner thigh.
Put it on the table.
And I think it connects around your knee.
Okay, so that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Except
it's a pain in the knee.
Yeah.
when you manscape, do you skip it? Oh, you wouldn't go down that far.
No. Well, you might. You might.
I mean, you might.
If you're a swimmer, you might.
Well, if you're a swimmer, I had a teacher in elementary school tell me I need to shave my legs to be more aerodynamic during track and field.
Really?
I was 13 when I was told that. That's a weird teacher.
Wow. Yeah, that's weird. You ever considered shaving? Like, that's weird, man.
Well, now I'm 34 and now that I tell that story out loud, yeah, what the fuck?
I told a story long ago, but the short story is when your hair grows in on your bum, it gets uncomfortable, and I shaved one cheek, and it was such a mess that I left the other cheek.
How old were you?
I was 18.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm a university student. This is unacceptable. I didn't have a lot of confidence, guys. I'm not going to lie. Walking around like everybody knew the one cheek was shaved and the other cheek was not. And Manscaped existed back then, and I could have used the promo code Dangle. I would have.
I need to know what month of the year was this?
By the way.
What's that?
What month of the year was this? This is a very important question.
Actually, I think it was sunny. I think it was the spring.
Okay, spring is fine. I was going to say, if this is July, you're going to have legendary swamp ass.
Oh, yeah, no.
You're just going to be...
My point was...
all day.
My point was, for hockey fans, I think it would be easier if people just reported it as, hey, the stretchy part in between your legs, like that's what Matt Murray keeps straining, and it's attached to the groin.
Yes.
No, but like, if you break your leg, right? Oh, he's got a broken leg. Yeah. I know if you break... one of the, and this is how dumb I am, but the two main bones in your basically calf and shin, whatever. I know it's like I think it's a 6 to 8 week recovery. Mm-hmm. Your femur is months and months, and those are both your leg.
Okay, there are other bones and muscles in your body that are more common. The adductor isn't one of those.
What if it causes people to Google what the adductor is?
Calf is something most people know.
Yeah.
Thigh, arm. And then we could go to like your femur. That's something your wrist. Oh, if I say wrist, that's a specific part of your arm.
Maybe we need to learn.
Groin makes more sense.
You know what? My dad resents learning metric. My dad resents learning metric.
Jeez.
Show me. Guess what? We all learn metric.
And all you medical students out there, don't tweet me. I know you know.
Leonardo da Vinci, you know that Leonardo da Vinci thing with like the man? Yeah. Just show me on that Leonardo da Vinci thing where it hurts. Jesse, I think you're right.
Jesse
it hurts in the groin area. Okay, cool.
I think you understand what I'm saying because you're like in Top 40, you translate things the easiest way.
Yes.
And I feel like they're not doing that here by using adductor all the time.
And I think they like to do that. And you know what? I wasn't doing it. And you know what? Maybe this is a good check on me.
Jesse wants that Da Vinci photo to just have like 6 or 7 things listed.
That's all you need.
That's it.
That's actually all you need.
Other arm. Doesn't even say left or right. It just says arm and other.
Every kinesiology, physiology major right now is just screaming at the radio. But
I know what the adductor is, or at least I know what it is when it hurts.
If you're at UFT kinesiology, you hate this show.
Yeah, I am staying up super late to get all this shit done.
Yeah, you thought you could escape.
Oh, you thought you were going to enjoy UFT? Nope. You've heard about that, right? It's very difficult. Mike Stevens talks about how tough UFT is.
Difficult.
Just brutal.
Cool. I went to the other Toronto school.
So the Leafs put Matt Murray on LTIR. They're able to call up 3 players, Simmons, Robertson, Mete. But I got to ask you guys, before the game even starts, in your head, for Kyle Dubas, is this bad luck? Is this a bad look? Or is it both?
It's both. He made his own luck here. And that's a horrible and harsh thing to say, but it is what it is. I wanted Matt Murray to succeed as a Leaf. He still might. But
this doesn't stop him from succeeding generally.
Okay.
Like he could have this injury and be completely fine in the playoffs. We're not even talking about it.
Here's how to look at it. For the second straight year, Kyle Dubas acquired a new goalie that got hurt after the first game. That's bad luck.
Sure.
How many games did Mrazek play the year before he signed with the Leafs?
I think it was like 15 or 12.
It was 12. How many games did Matt Murray play last
20.
year? I believe it was 22. Sorry. That's not good enough.
So
that's not good enough.
If your
that
goaltender 10 the goal, if you're an injury-prone player, don't be surprised if you get injured.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why we probably should have been talking about this more, that Samsonov played 44 games last year. Like, that's a relatively full season for a goalie who played in a tandem role. What was Murray at, Jesse?
Last year he played 20 games. You guys are right.
20. 20.
I remembered something.
Like, so Mrazek the year before he signed with the Leafs and Murray the year before he was traded to the Leafs combined for 32 games, which is 12 fewer than Samsonov played last year. It's terrible luck. I feel awful for Murray. This was a great chance to get a new opportunity. You know what I remember? Remember Lindros when he signed with the Leafs?
He played ballistic the first 30 games and then he got injured.
He played something like 30.
And Matt Sundin went down early, so he had to take his spot.
Yes, and he did play really well, and I remember he was on a line with Ty Domi for a while, and it worked for some reason. And he got hurt. And he came back from his injury. And if I'm not mistaken, he broke his arm.
Yeah. Shit. That was just a cursed year for him.
And I just remember the interview the next day, and he had like tears in his eyes because of how frustrating that must be for him. And I think of how frustrating this must be for Matt Murray, and like, this fucking sucks for him.
And he looked good in the first game too.
I thought people were
good.
He was come see, come saw. Like, people were maybe overly hard on him. It's the first game. You know what I mean? Samsonov has allowed some stinkers. Overall, he's been fine. We're 3 games in. I'm not going to evaluate all that. I feel horrible for Matt Murray. Leafs management, not good enough. Not good enough. Like, they could be 3-1 after all this. Like, listen, the team they've assembled is good. This is not good enough process. And I'm not trying to say they should have shelled out all this money for Jack Campbell. They decided that would have been bad process. And I think they would have been right. And this has nothing to do with Campbell's first 2 games, which have not been good at all. Did have a fun body check.
That was big.
Jack Campbell's been not good.
Yeah, but it's a couple games.
Yeah.
He's been not
I mean,
but he's been the worst first period goalie in the league through the first couple games. Yep. Literally in the league.
Absolutely, but I think you got to, again, we got to average this out over 10, 15 games before we make a call like that.
I agree with that. This management group swung and missed to date on 2 goalies with lengthy injury histories. And what did I say about the Philadelphia Flyers going out and getting Ryan Ellis and hedging all their bets on Ryan Ellis, who was great for them for 4 games? Mm-hmm. He was the player they expected him to be for 4 games. Then he got injured. He hasn't been back. And I feel horribly for Ryan Ellis. I do not feel bad for the Flyers. Mm-hmm. You bet on a guy who has an extensive injury history.
So the response,
this is what happens.
The response to this is going to be, well, what would you have had them do?
Anything else? And listen, maybe this was the best option that they could see. And this counter argument is why the Samsonov signing was so smart and such a good one for them. But also, we didn't know Samsonov was going to be available until like days before he was. Here's what I want to know. What the fuck was the plan before that happened?
I actually think that there was, I know the Leafs were hunting we all know the Leafs were hunting Marc-Andre Fleury. I'm sure if he had become available, like if he hadn't re-signed with the Wild before the free agency, that was a guy they wanted. I think Ville Husso was a guy that they were interested in.
I think there's like 10 teams at that number.
2 unrestricted free agents who could have gone anywhere they wanted. Those are 2 huge ifs.
And you can make a trade with the team, throw a low round draft pick at them, and pick up that player and try to negotiate with them for a few days.
And there were options like down the road, like guys like Eric Comrie, who they could have just picked up and put in the organization. You know, there were options.
Well, like the waiver wire is not an option for the Toronto Maple Leafs, frankly, because they did too well last year.
They're too good.
And
they also have 50 contracts.
That is another piece of bad process.
Now explain for people that might not know, and I know that everybody listening to this is going, oh my God. A lot of people actually don't know that there's a contract limit. There's an amount of players that you can have under contract. How does that work?
So you're only allowed to have 50 players under contract at any given time. There are exceptions, and I think it has something to do with Major Junior. So guys can slide. So like, I'm pretty sure Fraser Minton slides. He just signed his deal, and et cetera, et cetera. They have a number of guys in junior. But when the Leafs signed Zach Aston Reese, they were at 50. 50, you're right there. That's part of the reason why they really wanted to get rid of Wayne Simmons. It wasn't a cap thing. It was doing right by him because he wants to play in the league, and he just got called up. Still not going to play in the league, at least not tonight. But so being able to trade Wayne Simmons would bring them down to 49, and if they get to 49, they'll have a spot where they can sign a goalie.
So just to put this in relative terms, let's say the Arizona Coyotes or Montreal Canadiens, who I guess would be the first 2 picks for the waiver wire. I think it'd be Montreal. Right? Montreal would be the first pick, and they update that every month, right? Don't they?
I don't know how often they do it, but it's based on your place in the standings.
Yeah.
And for the first month of the season, it's based on your standings
the previous year.
From the previous year.
So let's say Edmonton Oilers lose their mind and they put Connor McDavid on waivers. Now, every other team except for the Leafs are stupid in this scenario, and they take a pass on him. Money's too much. Can't afford it. Okay? Can't afford him.
Yeah.
Pandemic, whatever. Okay? Then the Leafs, with 50 contracts, can they pick up Connor McDavid?
Well, you might say to yourself, well, couldn't they just waive someone? Yeah, but what if no one claims them? So no, they couldn't. They'd have to, I think they'd have to like waive someone for the purpose of terminating their contract.
Yes. Yeah.
So they would have to, and I don't even know if that's ever happened.
Because that's not like a buyout either. It's weird. Like that whole scenario is strange.
Yeah, like usually that sort of thing is mutual. The Flyers just did it recently with Lena Sandin. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what they would do. Mm-hmm. So that's a hilarious way to put it, Adam. But this is part of the reason why I can't remember if I said it on this podcast or on the stream or on LFR. It's that time of year where I'm doing a lot of stuff. But I saw 2 scenarios. One, they can trade Wayne Simmons for future considerations. They may even have to tie a pick to him. And that would free up a spot. Or they could look for a trade that's similar to the Matt Martin trade. Who did the Leafs get in exchange for Matt Martin? Does anyone remember his name?
I think they got future consideration.
Nope, it was a goalie.
Oh, Ian Scott?
Eamon McAdam.
All right.
He got him from the Islanders.
Oh, I knew that because of the LFR.
Yes. There you go. So they would have to look at that. Now, I was texting someone about that idea, and they're like, oh, yeah, that'll save things. No. I didn't say the goalie had to be good. Mm-hmm. They just need to be a living, breathing, professional goalie human under NHL contract. So something like that deal would at very like if one of their goalies gets hurt tonight, if Chychrun gets hurt tonight, they will not have a backup goalie.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain where everybody is? Because Woll's out.
So they have 5 goalies under NHL contract. They have Matt Murray injured. Samsonov, fine. Chychrun was injured the other day. Supposedly he's fine. So fine that he can play tonight. Joseph Woll, injured, and Dennis Hildeby is in Sweden and 18 or 19 or whatever. So that's not going to happen. They have decent options to sign They have Dylan Ferguson, who's still with the organization after a tryout. They have Dryden McKay, who they got out of the NCAA last year. They got Keith Petruzzelli, but both McKay and Petruzzelli are on AHL deals. They have to free up a contract spot to sign someone. And even though they were able to stave off disaster with the fact that Chychrun was cleared to play, they still should probably make a move here, and probably in the next few days, because on Friday or whenever they leave for Winnipeg, they're not going to be home for like 2 weeks.
Well, and beyond that, any NHL general manager looking at the Leafs situation, so say you're a GM, and we'll use Wayne Simmons as an example because the Leafs already said we're going to try to trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you were saying before, okay, Kyle, I will take Wayne. I'd love him in my lineup. I'd love him in my room.
Mm-hmm.
We're a team on the upswing and we need some veteran presence. I will give you future considerations for Wayne. Kyle says, no, I need a 7th or a 6th or something like that. And you kind of go back and forth and back and forth. But that's when both goalies are healthy.
Yeah.
If I'm that same GM now, I'm saying, I'll take Wayne off your hands because I know you need a contract slot and you're going to have to pay me a pick.
Yep.
And that's the cascade effect of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, both Leaf goalies currently are healthy. So Kyle Dubas could tell you to fly a kite. But if one of them perhaps takes a puck off the wrong part of their body and it hurts, and it's going to hurt for a few weeks, this is the issue you run into.
You could be in the position that the Montreal Canadiens were in last year, where Sam Montembeault played injured for like a month.
Or what Robin Lehner had to do, sit on the bench even though he wanted to have surgery because of Vegas.
Yeah. Or you could have a goalie who's in the same position as Matt Murray, where it's not a question of can you play hurt, it's he can't go. He cannot go. So tonight, heading into tonight's game, everything's fine. But we are one wrong move away from disaster here.
Right. And we know how easy it is for goalies flying around the place to get injured.
They need to free up a spot. The easiest solution to me, free up a spot, sign one of the guys you have. Keith Petruzzelli seems to be on his way to an NHL deal. Dryden McKay, I imagine, is on his way to an NHL deal. And then there's Dylan Ferguson, who they obviously brought in for a reason.
Right.
Right?
Does Kyle Dubas deserve criticism for the risk he took?
Of course.
Or was it the right thing to do?
Both could be true.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the right thing to do, but you could still criticize move. Both can be true.
I'm very happy with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost lost it. When I was in, I think it was in grade 7 or 8, I used to ride the shit out of my bike all around the neighborhood. And that's how I got great at track, is I just had rhinoceros legs from riding my bike on the hardest gear uphill, just all the time. I did it as like training. And one day I tried to cross the street. It was right by St. Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a car coming, but I thought I was fast as shit. And I'm like, I'm going to beat this car. I fly by it. I feel the wind of the guy behind me. And immediately, like when you're a kid, you just sort of go, haha, made it. No, I had a very adult thought and I was, oh my God, I almost just fucking died.
You became self-aware
and
aware of your mortality.
And if I didn't have that realization, I would have got it when the dude came screeching the fuck around. He did a full U-turn and he came and he just cursed me the fuck out, this man. But he's like, I could have killed you. Now, this is maybe too serious of a story for this situation, but I took a risk and I made it and it's fine. So that's an okay thing to do. No, it's not. It's a stupid thing to do. I just happen to have got away with it.
Right.
So if no one gets hurt last year, Mrazek doesn't get hurt last year, we talk about, the Leaf sports science team and how they're geniuses and how they, forget rebuilding and fixing Alex Galchenyuk. They rebuilt and fixed Peter Mrazek's groin. And this year they're tasked with doing the same thing. And medicine can only do so much, man. Yeah. Shit happens to the human body. and they made 2 big bets on 2 injury-prone goalies. Like, Mrazek, we keep focusing on the Leafs got out of it at a relatively low price. It cost them 13 spots in the draft. That's not nothing. They had the 25th pick, I think it was.
Yeah, they were in the first round. They moved back to the second.
And then I think they got Fraser Minton 38th.
Yeah.
Cost them 13 spots in the draft because you signed a guy who played 12 games to a 3-year deal. Are you sure? Okay. Suppose. And now we're in this situation again. 1 game in again. And there's no cap room and no contract slots. Like, we praise them for being $4 away from the cap, and we're like, Brandon Pridham's a wizard. This team is not designed to fly by the seat of its pants.
You have, if you're going to play that close to the line, you have to have a backup plan to your backup plan, is what you're saying.
It's not even Halloween, and they're already in complete disaster area.
I look at the 50 contract situation as something like, hey, don't sign 2 more guys during the summer. Have some room. That's terrible foresight.
It's not a disaster yet, though. And the argument,
right?
It's not a disaster yet. You're right up to the cliff's edge.
Yeah,
but it is not a disaster as of this recording. Has not happened, and we might just get close enough to take a peek, kind of like an Indiana Jones movie. You're just kind of hanging off the side of the motorcycle, and then you kind of straighten out, and everything's fine. Because remember. This isn't like a how the Leafs have played over 3 games conversation. This is a how the Leafs were managed over the summer.
They could be 3-1 tonight.
And you see how easy it is to pull the rope this tight.
No.
Right? So there's not really any room left. And I wonder now, they have to be, if they're having a meeting today in Dubas's shabby little office, which is still the shabbiest office.
I think that's to blame for this situation.
It has to be.
The shitty office.
What they have to be discussing is, okay, Brandon, so let's say one of the 2 goes down tonight. What then? Mm-hmm. And I don't actually know what the answer would be. You'd have to make a trade.
You have to make a move.
Mm-hmm. They have at a disadvantage. They have contingencies in place. Like, I'm 100% sure they've done that. They've done the homework on this. But to get to this situation is a failure.
And you're trading from a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Right?
That's awful.
Yeah. So... fascinating. However, the Leafs played pretty well against Ottawa. I
in the second half of the game.
For sure. Okay, listen. I'll give you the first period, first half of the game for sure. But I think what the Leafs came out in the third period.
I have a theory,
or what they should be.
I have a theory about the Leafs.
They start slow.
No, I thought because they started well.
I know,
they started well, and then just a festive penalty call.
Oh boy,
that was bad. Mm-hmm. It was bad.
It was a bad call.
I touched your shoulder. Holding call. This is a holding call.
It was one of the strangest officiated games that I remember in recent memory, because there were 4 calls all night. Mm-hmm. 2 to the Leafs, 2 to the Sens, and I think there was 1 real penalty among them. So it was like a weird put your whistles away game with almost exclusively bad calls.
Yeah, but you got to call something. That's what the refs are doing. Like, we got to justify being here.
But my theory about Leaf games that I've been noticing more and more as I do these LFRs, the Leafs play hockey in 10-minute quadrants.
Okay,
not quadrants, segments. They play hockey in 10-minute segments. The
quadrant implies 4, by the way, which I think is hilarious.
I fucked up.
40-minute games.
6 segments?
Sexments. I like that a lot better, actually.
All right.
Episode title, Sexments. Anyway.
So they
sell
play
those, aren't we naughty?
They play 10 minutes at a time.
Yes. Their first 10 minutes was great. Then I thought they were pretty shabby for about half an hour. And nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. And then in the third period, they were excellent, just like they were against the Capitals.
Since we mentioned the penalties, let's not forget the over the glass call. That did not called.
Or how about I think Brendan Gallagher, the reaction to Brendan Gallagher's comments about Tim Stützle were overblown. Timothy, have some frigging pride.
No.
That was shocking.
Timmy Stutz is doing the right stuff.
Well, it's working for him now.
You do it until it doesn't work.
Yeah,
like I don't blame,
and then the rest of his career will never.
Right, I don't blame him at all.
Follow him.
No, I don't blame him at all.
So
it's about winning the game today, and he's doing his best.
So, former Senator, former Red Wing, Bobby Ryan was watching that play, and here's what he had to say. He said, Keefe has to make more of a scene on that, and we're talking about the missed puck over glass penalty that they didn't call. It's early on in the season, and it's a small one, but it's something that refs say later, oh, we messed up, sorry. Too little, too late. If I miss a power play with 34 in the gang, I'm losing points over the course of the season.
Dude, that's great insight from a former NHL player. Or is he? I could have sworn
I don't know if he's
he was
retired
under
or
contract.
not. Yeah.
Anyway, that's great insight from a guy who knows, because I was very surprised to read that, because I was watching it and going, Sheldon, holy shit, you got to calm down. But it's funny, like
Sheldon Keefe always looks like he's yelling, though. He could be talking. It looks like he's a yell talker.
he's a yell talker, but when he gets mad, you see
red. Yeah,
you see it.
Sheldon Keefe's not a calm man.
No,
like in any respect.
I really like this breakfast.
No, coaches don't have numbers 2 through 9.
Right.
They have 1 and 10,
mm-hmm.
and he was 10 on that play. Well, Bobby Ryan, I think, was accusing him of being 8.5. 8.5 or 9.
Yeah, don't put your 1 foot in, be 2 feet. We've seen Sheldon angrier than that. He's right on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we saw him get fined for saying, fuck you, Graham, to a ref who was named Graham. Which I thought was pretty personal.
Do you think he meant anyone in particular with that?
No, I don't know. I mean, who's to say? Who's to say? But he got the John Boy treatment for that, actually. You just reminded me. Because enough people tagged John Boy in it that he was able to read his lips on the play. Load, damn you! I'm trying to find it because he was actually able to quote him.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. It's okay.
It's all right.
People can go to John Boy and watch it if they want to.
We don't need to pull it up.
Why? I want to.
On the Leafs versus the Senators. I think
son of a gun.
A lot of the post-game comments that I saw was talking about the Sens transition game and like that's how they're scoring. The Leafs aren't a fast team.
Not on the back end.
Yeah, I think like the idea that we have in our mind about how much like elite scoring they have, that they would also translate to them being like a super quick transition team. They get up and down the ice. That's not really how they play. And I think the Sens, who play a game like that, where it's just kind of we're gonna fly down this other end of the ice, they kind of expose that the Leafs aren't really fast, but that's not how they're necessarily gonna score.
This is now the 3rd game of the season, that was the 3rd game of the season. And all 3 teams have tried to beat the Leafs the same way, where the Leafs are going to have the puck more. They're going to have the puck more. The other team's going to try to keep them to the outside, going to try to get in front of their passes, get in front of their shots, and sneak behind them for odd man rushes.
And it works.
It does work. The Leafs, I think, are getting better at it. Mm-hmm. Like I'm noticing an improvement at least through the first 3 games, but everyone's trying it.
But when Caulfield gets loose, and if it works 2-3 times in a game, that's all you need sometimes.
That Samsonov did not get enough credit for that save on Tkachuk in the 3rd. And I say that as someone who didn't bring it up in the LTIR video. It's despite the fact that it was 20 minutes. I'm so sorry, Drew. Yeah, that's how teams are
they're a real puck dominant. I think there's kind of a building formula, and I wonder if Keefe and the coaching staff kind of works towards ending that for the other team, you know?
But you know who was good?
Justin Holl.
First star of the game.
That's
Hall
right.
of Fame. I've said this for a very long time. That game you saw from Justin Holl is the way he has to play. It's what got him a contract in the National Hockey League, playing Ian Tulloch in EASHL style defense, where he is the right defenseman crashing up the left wing. Ian, please stop. You are not Justin Holl.
We're adults and we're trying to play a formation here.
Yeah, I see. He's a Justin Holl truther, and now I discovered why.
Yeah,
because that's how
he is Justin Holl.
But he generated 2 goals by crashing up the left side, and on the game-winning one, he scored it himself. That's how he played in the minors. That's how he got to this point. And at some point, he became like ineffective shutdown guy. And I don't know when that happened, but it worked for like a couple months. And we're like, okay, I guess that's what Justin Holl is now. No, what you saw against the Sens, when he jumps up in the rush, that's Justin Holl at his best. So that's the setup I hope they maintain.
I don't know if you saw the post game, but they're like, Justin, you're not really known for your scoring. And he said,
what?
And they gave him the first Hockey Night in Canada towel of the year.
Oh,
because they haven't been able to do that for 2 years, right? Because you couldn't give them anything. And he's like, how does it feel to be the first guy to get it? And he's like, oh, it feels great. Like, he's like laughing. He's like, I didn't even know, like, you know. But it was just sort of funny but he sold it, right? He's like, no, it's great. It feels great. It's awesome that we're here. Amazing. The other thing I want to point out.
He's from Minnesota. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't grow up watching this.
He might have got like a signal.
Your uncle's going to hate this, but William Nylander's had a really good start to the year, and that goal in the third period was laser. Like, Forsberg's arm is in the right place. He's going side to side, shifting, throwing his arm up, and the puck is just enough where it goes past. It was so close that should have gone off the post.
I want to hear it.
What?
When are we going to start the conversation?
People hate William Nylander.
William Nylander has the best shot on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh! I will heir best right-handed shot on the Leafs.
Oh, there you go.
Boo. Boo. Best shot.
After Justin Holl.
The dude looks deadly 3 games in. He's been unbelievable.
And what a pass from Matthews, and what a not covering anyone by the Ottawa Senators. That was not their best moment.
The little saucer. I'm so happy you mentioned the little pass. Matthews, he did the little. You can see on his face he's concentrating really hard. And it's a perfect little saucer. It's like a foot off the ice. It was a beautiful play.
Mm-hmm. John Tavares, I thought, was the little thing king all night. Just like nice little passes. Like there was a lot of things to like about that game.
I've always wondered about the chemistry between those two.
Which one?
Matthews and Nylander. Not Matthews and Nylander. Jeez. Tavares, Nylander. Sometimes they're electric. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, they can't get it going. It seems like this year, so far, 3 games, I get it, they've looked like the better that they usually can be.
Well, and thank goodness, because through the first 2 games, the top line wasn't very effective. And it's rare both are shut off at the same time. And you can win a lot of games with only one of them.
In the playoffs, it'd be nice to have both at the same time.
Yeah, if both of them are going, they're a really, really difficult team to beat.
We'll leave it at that, unless you guys have anything else you'd like to, unless you want to deep dive Victor Mete being up on the roster or anything like that. Robertson's probably going to draw in at some point here. You guys, I mean, he's now on the team.
Because I don't think Muzzin had that great of a game.
I don't think he's had a good...
What? He set up the game-tying goal.
Yeah, he had one play.
He had a good defensive play, too, where he broke it up.
No, I watched...
He broke up a 2-on-1.
What was the first goal that he was on the ice for?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know, man.
I watched Justin Holl. I watched Jake Muzzin back up on a play where he should be pinching his man. It was awful, awful defense. I don't think he had that great of a game.
See, I think that's the puck going off the glass. And anyway, Jesse, way to break down a play that no one can see.
Yeah,
but, you are right. You are right.
Step up a little, Jakey.
I think that's a. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyways,
but he said,
move on, Adam.
I liked his celebration for his assist.
All right.
Do the caca that you did in the LFR.
Let's get to Dave with You Can Bet That.
Sports Interaction, Canada's Sportsbook, presents You Can Bet That with David Bastel. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Ontario only.
His name is Dave, and he's got the odds, baby, and the odds are not in Arizona's favor tonight.
No.
They are ever not in their favor, but especially tonight. What are the odds if you bet on the Coyotes to beat the Leafs?
Just over 5 times your money. A $5.19 for an Arizona win. Are you tempted at all?
So if I put $20 down, I would get how much back?
Gee whiz, you're making me think now. $20. About $100. $103. $103, yeah.
$103.
Would the odds change with the news of Eric Källgren starting?
Yeah.
You never know, actually. It's a good point, Steve. Good point. Yeah. Because sometimes we don't, there's established odds, and then all of a sudden you hear news about player injuries, backup goaltenders, something happens. You know what? It could drift a little bit, but let's not kid each other. Arizona is going to be underdogs for 99% of the season. So if they're on the road in an opposition building, for sure they'll be the underdogs in this one. I'll tell you this though. Arizona 6-1 in their last 7 appearances in Toronto.
Really? Actually?
There's no way.
That's so embarrassing.
And I'm pretty sure the one Leaf win was an overtime one where they blew a lead. It recently, Kapanen got the OT winner, I think.
Oh, the Leafs
6-1.
I mean, they don't come to Toronto a lot, guys. So it's not like you have a large sample size, but it just seems that and you hear this a lot. A lot of Ontario-born players come to town and best effort ahead, right?
Yeah.
6-1 in the last 7. That's pretty substantial, though.
Also, the Leafs have this perpetual habit of blowing it versus bad teams, as we saw in Game 1 versus Montreal. But,
Cupcake schedule, though, eh? Cupcake schedule for your Leafs right off the top.
Tough.
I mean, four games against maybe one playoff team. Oof.
Yeah, well, sorry. The rest of the month's going to be tough, right?
Rest of the month. I mean, it's not the difficulty of the opponents. It's just the frequency of the games and the road trip and everything.
And the leafiness of the Leafs.
And also, don't ever bet against your team. But if you're gonna
go to sportsinteraction.com/STPN. That's what you do.
Well,
yeah, it's a good site.
Today.
Join it. Yeah, a lot of player props too. By the way, a lot of people like to sit there and go, "Oh, maybe it's an Arizona game. Maybe it's a 7-goal game." Well, bet on some props then too.
Jesse,
Make it happen.
What do you think goals wise? What do you think this game?
Oh,
will be?
anytime goal scorer Austin Matthews, he's getting one tonight versus the Coyotes. He has to score.
Yeah.
Arizona boy scores against Arizona.
Absolutely, has to happen.
The Leafs are heavily prone to getting goalied, and Vejmelka did it to them last year. He can do it to them again.
Now, are Matthews' parents going to be in the house?
I assume.
Oh,
so.
they'd have to.
Then guaranteed anytime goal scorer Austin Matthews.
There you go. You have to score when mom and dad is there, right?
Exactly.
That's right. Dave, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Guys, I've asked you this before. I'm going to ask you again. Are you taking care of them?
Are you going to work in like turkey into this one? Is it going to be
Well, no,
holiday
because
themed?
Canadians have already done Thanksgiving, and then you've got American Thanksgiving in 6 weeks.
And we don't really even care about Thanksgiving.
Canadians?
It's not a big
I
deal.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
but like American Thanksgiving is way bigger and better. And
I had
you want to make
leftovers for breakfast.
there you go.
Great.
And while you're consuming that turkey, he wants me to
stuffing and
square
gravy
peg
at
round
9 in the
hole
morning.
this.
Yeah.
You might want to check out the Platinum Package 4.0. In fact, when American Thanksgiving rolls around, that's when you start thinking Christmas gift. Platinum Package 4.0. With this glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine in one swoop. Inside is a 10-part Platinum Package. Everything you need to know and everything you need to perform, plus some shower goodies and elevating your grooming game. Yes.
Would you say the Manscaped 4.0 would carve your turkey?
I would say
It would not. No nicks.
No nicks on your butter balls.
Hey! Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code DANGLE. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use that promo code DANGLE. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
Cook that bird.
Cornucopia on your scrotum.
Guys, I had somebody on Twitter tell me the other day that spicy cereal joke that you guys make at my expense is no longer funny.
Oh, really?
So when we talk about Magic Spoon,
The funny police tweeted you.
the funny police got back to me and they said, "Listen,
How
I'm
much
tired."
was the ticket?
It was a hotly suggestive tweet. Okay, and they were like, "Excuse me, find a new bit for Magic Spoon." So you know what I thought I'd do?
I'm the funny police.
Let me slide this under your windshield wiper.
I'm going to just give you the facts about Magic Spoon, okay? It's good for you. Magic Spoon has replicated your favorite childhood cereals to taste good and be good for you. Each serving contains 0 grams of sugar and over 13 grams of protein and less than 5 grams of carbs. Like I said, it's healthy. Again, low carb, keto friendly, gluten free, grain free, soy free. Relive those childhood moments watching your favorite cartoons on a Saturday morning. Plus, it's only 140 calories per serving. It's like there's magic in every spoonful, but not funny in every spoonful. I wouldn't want to go there.
Also, new flavors: jalapeno, cayenne, California Reaper.
Not necessarily, but they do have cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry muffin, maple waffle, and others. So go to magicspoon.com/SDP to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try Magic for yourself. And be sure to use that promo code SDP at checkout to save $5 off your order. Again, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, It's backed by a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. If you don't like our jokes, there's nothing you can do about it. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/STP and use that promo code. It's STP. Save $5 off. Ha ha. There's a couple of things from around the NHL that I want to talk about. First off, did you guys see the clip of Lindy Ruff getting booed in New Jersey?
Which one? There were a few. There was the Fire Lindy chant and him getting booed when they were announcing the coach.
And he was like, am I getting booed?
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. Well, it reminded me... It's Lindy.
It reminded me of that story that was in Berkey's book about he had to fire Ron Wilson because he just couldn't put him out there behind the bench anymore. Because Leaf fans had turned on him.
There was, everyone remembers the Fire Wilson chant. Very few people forget, they asked like a trivia question to a fan. You know how they'll do that and like, oh, if you win, you get like a free jersey or whatever.
Yeah.
And the question was something like, who currently has the most goals in Leaf history? Is it A, Doug Gilmour, B, Wendell Clark, or C, Matt Sundin? And the guy into the microphone to the entire Air Canada Center goes, the answer is C, Fire Wilson.
Oh, did they give it to him?
I think they did because he had the right answer. Like he got, what I remember is the answer, he got the letter right. And also, instead of saying it, said, fire the coach.
Whoa.
So thanks for saying fire the coach into the microphone. Here's your free jersey.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a video of it somewhere. I've seen it. It's, whoa.
So,
Stones.
And so the interesting opposite of that is the Philadelphia.
Before
you
we
want to
move
talk
off
about New
the
Jersey?
Devil,
You want to keep talking about New Jersey? Listen, I wouldn't want to focus too much on New Jersey. Why would I want to do that?
Coming off of game one, Miles Wood goes out to the media, and says game 2 is a must win.
And then they lost.
And then you go out and your goalie that you brought in gives you absolutely no chance.
Vitek
Vanacek, it was 17 saves on 22 shots. It wasn't pretty, and it's 2 games. Mm-hmm. It's 2 games, but you have a player saying it's a must win. You lose the game. The goalie situation seems to be the exact same one from last year, where Blackwood looked garbage in game 1, Vanacek looked garbage in game 2. How is this team supposed to do anything when it's the same shit year in, year out, where they have no goaltender and the coaching staff can't get it together? I feel bad for Devils fans. It's 2 games and it's terrible.
Maybe they're just not a complete team yet. Like, I know that pissed off a lot of people, but like, again, when I said in the offseason, I'm looking at the Devils roster and they have some unbelievable star talent and then a bunch of guys. And sometimes a bunch of guys provide good depth. Other times a bunch of guys are just a bunch of guys.
But how did those bunch of guys look if they get at 800 level goaltending?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's funny because, every team should say that. Listen, if we've only got some good goaltending, think of where we'd be.
Think of some of the goaltending Lindy Ruff has gotten in his career.
Oh, he had
prime Ryan Miller.
Yeah, he had some good goals.
He was unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this is
it's
not
2 games.
A great situation.
It's 2 games.
Their own players come out and say it's a must win. It felt like that in New Jersey, and they let Ben Sherratt put up a goal and assist.
Ooh, that's rough.
No, it's Lindy. It's what coach though wants to come into that situation? Hey, we'd really like you to coach our team. We're 3 games in, and neither of our goalies work. What coach wants that situation? Mm-hmm. It's no bueno, man. That's it. Listen, it's a tough start. Oilers have had an extremely tough time on defense and in net, and they found a way to come back and win the first one, and they made a game of the second one. So maybe that's the way the Devils need to win games.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I don't think anyone's denying their offensive talent, or at very least their offensive potential for the future. Jesse pulls up their schedule. Listen, you got a home game against the Ducks.
That's what
make it happen, baby.
Tomorrow night, it's weirdly a huge game.
it's weirdly a huge game because if you lose at home
are you worse
to
than
the Ducks, it gives you an idea of where you're at in this league. And I don't know, we might be done here. Like with Lindy Ruff.
Well, mate, with Lindy 3 games, guys? Todd Richards at least got 9 with Columbus.
No, but it's if I'm not mistaken, Todd Richards was 9 and that's it. Like Lindy Ruff was the coach of the Devils last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they were bad last year. And they had bad goaltending last year. That's on the... I'd be looking square at the GM. Who's the GM?
Well, if you're the GM...
John Gillies is my starter. Who's the GM?
Oh my God.
Is it not Ray Shero?
Is Ray Shero the president or the GM?
I don't know.
It's Tom Fitzgerald, isn't it?
Oh, it's Tom Fitzgerald.
There
yeah,
it
and
is.
Shero's the... Yeah.
I was just looking this up. Lindy Ruff's been there since the 2020 season. So this is
they've been rebuilding.
Is the third-ish season.
Look at me,
56 games in.
I'm defending the Devils here. This is the position we're in.
I don't know. Like, it's about time.
Oh man, I've
never seen someone's coaching career go down in 3 games here. But if you lose tomorrow night to Anaheim, we got to start talking about it.
And how you lose too, because like Anaheim's looked devastatingly bad.
They won a game. They're 1-1.
Who did they get killed by?
That was game 2. I think they played the hold on.
They lost like 7-1 to somebody.
Yeah.
I thought it's definitely, dude, there have been so many games. And also yesterday, none games.
7-1 to the Islanders on Saturday. That was what you're thinking of.
Oof, Maroon.
Yeah.
That's stuff.
So anyway, I want to do a couple of things here before the show. Like I wanted to get these things. So there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the league that do not have a win yet. The majority of those teams have only played 2 games though.
Mm-hmm.
So we give them a pass, right?
Right.
Including the Devils.
Who are the 2 teams? One team played 3 and one team played 4. 0 points.
The San Jose Sharks.
San Jose Sharks.
They're absolutely
0 and 4.
Shit.
Actually?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. And the other one.
And then San Jose's 0 and 4, and then you said there's another team that's 0 and 3.
0 and 3.
The team who's for sure going to win tonight, the Coyotes.
No. Columbus Blue Jackets.
Coyotes have a point?
Yeah, no, they're 0 and 2.
0 and 2.
Yeah. Columbus is 0 and 3. Oh,
yeah, and they have currently, even though they've played 1 less game than San Jose, the worst goal differential in the league, already at -9.
Dude, Laine scored such a nice goal. I think it was Jeff Merrick tweeted. He's like, oh my God, he's going for 40 this year. And I think 10 minutes later, he was injured for the next month.
Yeah,
oh
my God.
Said Laine fantasy owners.
Yeah, it's weird because
kidding.
they signed Goudreau, and all we said was, hey, they don't really look that great on paper. Besides, they added this one piece, and 3 games in, it's kind of proven true.
Yes. Well, I don't think anybody thought that they were primetime ready yet, but I don't know if they thought they'd get into a start that's this rough. Now, 0 and 4, you can recover from that start. 0-7 and fun. 0-7 and 1, which is how the Leafs started 12, 13 years ago in their first season with Phil Kessel. He didn't play. That is not recoverable. So San Jose's they're in the territory. They're closing in on, we may not be able to recover this season in the first 2 weeks.
What's your bar? Because right now, if we're talking about 3-game losing streaks, if this is in January, it's not even like a thing.
This is a bad week.
This is all overreaction because of the first week of the season.
Yeah.
But what's your bar as this keeps going and say a team's 1-6, 1-7, 1-10? Like, when is it actually panic season? Your season's kind of done here.
I think you really start to worry after 4 or 5. Well, I mean, if you're 0 and 4 and 0 and 5, you didn't even luck your way into one of them.
It's the NHL. You should at least get one.
It's the NHL, but
a 5-game losing streak in February, that your season's not over.
You're starting the season though.
It's different. Yeah.
It's harder to come back from a bad start. It is.
Yeah.
Teams have done it. Look at the Blues. They won a cup doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of those where, if you think about it like this, if you were to subdivide the season into 10 game segments, right? Mm-hmm. You'd have 8 of them and then plus 2 on the end. Okay. If you're getting if you're 3-6 throughout the whole thing, you're not looking so hot. So even 3-6, 3-7, 3-6-1, that's ugly. That's an ugly start.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Not great. 3 times, so you'd have 30-something wins, which is not great. If you're 2.5 wins for every 10 games, that's a really ugly way to start the year.
Here's the difference between a slide in like January or February and a slide right out of the gate. Imagine a runner on the starting blocks and the gun goes off and they fall flat on their face. And then they have to get up and start from zero.
Yeah.
Or imagine they stumble, catch themselves, and continue the race.
I had a high school teacher explain to us that he said, listen, the assignments earlier on in the year are going to be easy because every teacher's easing you into it. He said, do your best to get 100% on those assignments because you're starting from here.
Yeah.
He's like, just if it's a homework assignment, you have to hand it in, just do it. So because if you could start from here, even if you fall 40 points, you're still passing. And he's like, I've seen it happen, but he's like, obviously, he's like, it's the harder thing to come back from. And they're right.
I think I told this story before, but we had a long-term supply teacher who everyone loved in English. And there was a student in our class who didn't do very well. And he submitted his test for this book he did not read.
Okay.
And he left a big chunk of it blank. And the teacher refused to accept the test. He goes, no, I need you to fill this out. He goes, I don't know what happened in the book. I didn't read it. He's like, no, it's 5 marks and there's spelling and grammar. Mm-hmm. Write something. And the guy goes, okay. So he just wrote something. And he goes, do you mind if I read it to the class? He goes, yeah, go, okay. And it's like, this is like, we're talking like Macbeth. And he's like, I like chicken, but I also like pizza. Chicken is great, but there's something about pizza. Pizza is versatile. Pizza is, and he wrote like a paragraph about pizza, and he got a 2 out of 5.
That's right on the edge, right?
Right on the edge.
Okay, I want to.
And your point was
the point is don't start bad. Basically, that if the Coyotes, if San
My
Jose
point is, Mr. Percy, I hope you're doing well. I don't know whatever happened to you. It was a long time ago, but you were great.
San Jose needs a split of their next 6 games. They need to win 3 games and lose 3 to even hang on to this season being a season.
I doubt it's going to happen.
I know. Listen, we didn't have them highly ranked in our previews either, and I don't think they did. I want to ask you this. Who leads the league in points right now?
Connor McDavid.
Wait, team or player?
Sorry, player.
Oh, I know the answer.
What was it?
And you can all eat shit.
Mason Marchment.
Sidney fucking Crosby.
And he is tied with Artemi Panarin. I would have accepted either, but Crosby gets the edge. I think he's got more goals. Who is leading the league in goals?
Is it McDavid with the hat trick?
No, someone has 4.
Oh, shit.
Zibanejad?
There are 3 people tied in
Mika?
goals. Connor, Stammer, Nino Niederreiter. With 4 goals.
Nice.
Crazy.
Dude, I love that signing so much.
Isn't that? It's a great signing.
Steven Stamkos has 4 goals.
Yeah.
Eat shit out of him.
I know.
His career's done.
They were all in the power
He was
play.
looking done.
They were all in the power play.
Yeah, they're all in the power.
They probably were. Yeah, they don't count to throw in the power play.
No. That dude dedicated last year to saying "fuck you," Adam Wild.
That's fine.
That's hilarious.
That's fine. Who has? And this is a little bit more of a misnomer. It's the harder one because no one pays attention. Who's got the most assists?
Oh,
Leon Draisaitl.
Great guess.
Kreider.
Kreider's not even on the list. Panarin and Rantanen. 5 assists already each.
Wow.
Amazing. Now, I want to know if you can tell me who is leading in rookie scoring.
Ooh. Michael Bunting.
Michael Bunting. He's a rookie again.
Still eligible. Somehow.
Detroit fans are just...
Matt Boldy doesn't qualify as a rookie anymore, does he?
I don't think so.
I'm still mad about not getting
It's not Beniers. It's not...
I'm going to say Beniers.
Owen Power.
Matty Beniers, 4 points.
Not Beniers.
I meant Beniers. Beniers. A goal and 3 assists. Not bad.
Yeah, no, good start.
Yeah, they're
Good
doing
player.
great. So I always find it fun after the first weekend to be like, hey, who are those people? And actually, if you look at the lists, usually you have some weirdo who's in like the top 10 that doesn't really belong there. Most of them are pretty much the stars are scored.
Yeah.
Jason Robertson's had a crazy start as well. And it's just, oh man.
Nino Niederreiter being tied for first in goals is pretty weird.
Oh yeah, you're right. Other than him, I just love Nino Niederreiter. Okay, so we should mention this before we get to the press conference because it's an important story. The NHL this weekend closed the investigation on Ian Cole.
Yeah.
Now that does not exonerate. They've just reinstated him, and what they said was there's not sufficient evidence to support the allegations. Cole obviously categorically denied this, and. I think the NHL basically they went through a whole bunch of records, and they said they did a thorough investigation. But the thing that throws a little bit of water on the idea that they did a thorough investigation is several hours before they came out and said we've closed the case, the NHL Twitter account reached out to the account that made the accusations. It's a 1-tweet account. We believe it was made just before the posting went up, and they said, please DM us.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people see that, and rightfully so, as sort of like, okay, so how much digging did you actually do? And I'm going to give the NHL, I'm going to say that I think the NHL, I'm not going to give them anything. I think the NHL probably used that as a last resort. The last thing
that's what I think too.
The NHL would want to do is reach out in a public setting like Twitter to get you to DM them. Right? That's the last thing they'd want to do. Now,
at very least, I think they know how little we think of them.
Yes.
And that we say they have a lot of work to do because they do.
It's still a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
It still looks like shit. And you have every right to go, okay, well, the NHL did this investigation, so how much do we trust it? Because the NHL, frankly, has not had the best record when it comes to this stuff, as you know.
Here's what I imagine the Lightning and or Ian Cole's camp argued. This tweet was posted.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple parties have tried to get in contact with this person who, like, I assume didn't use their real name.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
assuming so too.
Didn't use their real name. And the argument that I think Ian Cole and or the Lightning and or the league would have made is, well, how long are we willing to wait? Just because the investigation has been closed for now, which I know is disappointing to a lot of people, I don't think closes the door on the possibility of the investigation being opened up later if there's more. But right now, there's just the tweet.
Right.
And for some of you, that's going to be enough. That's going to be enough. He can't play a game again.
But a legal perspective, they can't verify that, and so there's no legal grounds. Now,
like, you got to be able to say to the guy, you can't play, and have an argument for why. And I think it's an extremely ugly, difficult situation that I'm going to go out on a limb and say is not over.
The PA issued a statement regarding Ian Cole, and I'm going to read this word for word, and then we got to discuss it because I think people were rightly pissed off about this, and I got a little bit of insight from it, so I want to. So the NHLPA statement regarding the NHL investigation. We are pleased that the situation with Ian Cole is now resolved and that the NHL has closed the matter. See, that's an interesting one, Steve, because you just said they might, if new information came up, they'd open this again. However, players should never be subject to suspension or discipline in response to unsubstantiated and anonymous accusations. Removing a player from his team under these circumstances is inappropriate and grossly unfair. We are engaging the league in discussions on how to address similar situations in the future. Now, this is one that they never this publicly, at least, have ever dealt with on social media. A lot of people, myself included, looked at that and said, what the fuck is that? Was that necessary? And at the end of the day, it was not. the NHLPA's perspective on this, as best as I understand it, is what's to stop somebody from posting something to a Twitter account right before a playoff game and naming a player, a fan from another team.
I think a lot of players are worried, man. A lot of players are worried.
Now,
and that's where this comes from. If
you're coming at it from a place of the amount of phony assault allegations out there is somewhere between 4 and 8%, depending upon what study you're looking at.
I've seen lower.
It's one of those where the PA made that statement, and when you look at the percentages that low, you're not coming from a perspective of this is something like this would be an extremely rare happenstance. And I think the PA really fucked up here because you have a lot of people who are like, hey, listen, this is an extremely small number of times that something like this happens. This is the first time, at least in my personal memory, that anything like this has happened on this sort of public forum. And
not that I remember.
So, yes, it's the PA's job to protect the players. We get that. But having this public statement, it's sort of, to me, it's something that they did not need to say. If you want to engage the NHL, engage the NHL. If you're worried about that type of thing and you want to create an instance where it's depending upon what it is, there's a sliding scale or however it is that you legally want to work it out, that's one thing. But what this does is it adds sort of fuel to the fire that every person or most people that come forward with these allegations to someone who is prominent, like an athlete, is making it up. It's that person's crazy. You know what I mean? That's sort of been they're just a fan that got too close. That's the perception that's trying to be fought.
They're only out trying to get stuff that
so-and-so's money
never actually get in these situations.
Right. So for the PA to do that, I think that they need to really do some soul searching here on where they stand when it comes to not just the players, but also where we stand on women's rights. Not we, they. Because honestly, if the PA had said nothing publicly, we wouldn't be talking about
right.
it.
That's my entire thing on this. I think we share the same thoughts. It's so unbelievably unnecessary to come out and say this. You could have just done this behind closed doors if that's your feelings, have that conversation. But you didn't need to release this public statement and kind of spit in the face of allegations like that.
I think they would disagree. So the tone of the statement was not for positive PR. The tone of the statement was for strength.
It's combative.
Yeah, on purpose, right? And rightly or wrongly, because that's exactly what Hockey Canada has done for the last several months, is been combative, and they lost the hell out of the PR war. But what they were trying to do was dig in their heels and show strength. We will not be bullied. We will not be moved. We will not compromise.
Against people accusing a player of sexual assault?
That was confirmed and they paid it out?
That's who you want to bully against?
Yeah.
No, listen.
No, I'm talking about this specific.
Yeah,
you're talking about this one.
Yeah. To be honest with you, this is, I think, the best the NHL's handled it. They took the player out. They investigated. They couldn't find the substantial evidence to support it, and they reinstate the player.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen, it's probably still imperfect. There's probably still things that they could do better, but how else would you want this to go? Honestly. And that's for the PA and the NHL to sort out. But I just feel like I don't quite understand what the PA was like. They weren't this strong on beach, right? They weren't this strong on anything else. Now you're going to be like this. Now you're going to come out and make a grand public pronouncement.
Player's livelihood was affected, so they care.
The player was paid.
Yeah, but his reputation and blah blah blah. It's a useless organization.
This wasn't the instance to be combative and gets to put your feet in the ground and challenge.
They're trying to discourage people from doing this again.
Right.
That
discourages people from coming forward. They have to take that on balance. If you're
the lawyers for the PA, are you supposed to look at that as a bad thing?
I understand. Agreed. I know
how monstrous that sounds. Yeah. I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes.
1,000%. I think it's a really like this person, this Twitter account, even though it's not been linked directly to a person yet, could be real.
Well, and has adequate time been given to this situation for it to be resolved? Like what was the beginning to end?
I mean,
like 2 weeks?
They can do the investigation. Week? Yeah. I'm sure they had many people on it too, right? That speeds it up.
October 7th.
October 7th. Today is
the 17th.
October 17th.
So 10 days.
10 days ago, but it was resolved
Saturday or Friday or Saturday.
So it was less than 10 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just over a week. It's a fascinating situation because
it's never happened before. There needs to be a process. I agree. But at the end of the day, the PA does not need to make this statement, because what it does is it shows that they're not coming from a place of most of these are real. That's how we need to look at this, is most of these complaints are real. Over 90%
they don't
are
want
real.
to come from there. They don't want to come from there. If you're working,
and therein lies the rub.
If you're working for the NHLPA, that is the last message you want to get across, probably, right? And you're trying to show strength, and you're trying to stand behind your guys, a lot of whom are pretty scared right now. How many of the John Does in the Hockey Canada case from 2018 are in the NHLPA currently?
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer is all of them, probably.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be a fascinating organization to watch for the next little while.
Yeah.
How many players from the 2003 team, when that ends up coming out,
I just think
are on NHL pensions right now?
And listen, yeah, okay. Nobody wants to be falsely accused of anything. Nobody does. I think we can all agree on that.
Of course.
But the reality is, if I have a son, I get to raise my son differently than the way I will raise my daughter, especially when she comes to age where she'll be going out and probably having fun and probably, who knows, consuming alcohol. That is the reality of the world that we live in. And we have to, if we're going to make any progress here, we have to acknowledge that reality everywhere. And that's the problem I have with the statement. Now, can the PA do it? Absolutely they can. But it requires somebody with a little bit of insight, perhaps a woman, I don't know, at the top or near the top to say, hey guys, fellas, maybe you've never experienced this, but I haven't. Let me tell you about
it. If there is a positive to be gleaned from this, even if it's small, it's this conversation around everything that's happening, like, didn't even exist a few years ago.
Agreed. Yes.
So
1,000%.
The NHLPA is doing its thing, and I get it for the reasons that we laid out, whether you agree with it or not. But this conversation that we're having did not exist a few years ago. And, whether you agree that the NHL is doing their job and the NHLPA is doing their job, I think we're all starting to do our job as a society. And that's somewhere to start.
It's going to start with us, and then we'll have to drag them kicking and screaming into the century. So, and that's the way it's always been. Like, the NHL is not a forefront leader on this stuff. We know that.
Yeah. I don't know if any of the other leagues are any better at this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. They all have.
We're in a era of reckoning, I guess you could say.
Agreed.
I'd be very surprised if this was the last we heard of this story.
There it is. So with that, we'll do the press conference. I got an issue with dress shirts.
What's that?
Got an issue with dress shirts because I'm an oddly proportioned man.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a big butt, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't. My body proportions have changed a little bit since the pandemic. I haven't been to the gym as much.
You don't wear shirts on your butt.
When you're tucking a dress shirt in, it matters. And so what happens is my butt, which sits super high,
depending on how the shirt sits, when you're caked up,
that's right,
it can be an issue.
So listen, we want you to try this, okay? We want you to try this. We want you to try Roan, okay? The dress shirt was due for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. Roan is the commuter shirt. It is the most comfortable, breathable, flexible shirt known to man, and here is why. Roan's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy whatever life throws your way. From the work commute to 18 holes of golf. There you go. Okay?
Wow.
It's time to feel confident with a wrinkle-free shirt without the hassle. With Rhone's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the shirt. It's that easy.
That's cool.
And with Gold Fusion and anti-odor technology, also good for Sweaty Boy over here, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. On top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. Okay, now, the commuter shirt can get you through any workday, and we want to give you 20% off. Okay? Head to Rhone.com. That's RHONE.com/dangle. Use the promo code dangle. You'll get 20% off the entire order. The entire order. Again, that's 20% off the entire order.
Wow.
When you go to RHONE.com/what? Dangle.
Take
That's
the-
right. Want to bet? You can do it. Sports Interaction. It's Canada's sportsbook. Football continues. World Series right around the corner. And of course, we've been talking about it and we will continue talking about it. Hockey season has started. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of the many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, easy to play, and easy to cash out.
High five.
High five. Woo! Yeah, high five with the prop on the table. Join now to see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/STPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/STPN. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. High five.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Hi. How you
Hello.
doing?
These conversations are tough.
I know. I don't know.
Needs to happen. Needs to happen.
I want to spend a moment here talking about one of the big stories from July in the hockey world.
July in the hockey world. Well, there was draft,
We
free
were-
agency. There was a lot of stuff.
You mentioned it.
Are we talking serious or fun?
Oh, for the individual, it was very serious. For us, it was entertainment.
Okay.
What did I do?
Not for you. Not about you.
It wasn't Steve.
I'm talking about Shane Wright.
Oh.
Shane Wright of the Seattle Kraken. Shane Wright, who fell 3 spots.
Oh, 4. Yeah.
3 spots and then to 4th overall
Right.
in the draft. Maybe the scouts who were looking at him and didn't pick him 1st overall, didn't pick him 2nd, didn't pick him 3rd, had something right there.
Well, it's Shane. But yeah.
Maybe they had something Shane.
How many
Shane
times am I going
Wright-
to do the same stupid joke this episode? Let's find out.
The Shane Wright has been a healthy scratch 2 out of 3 games in his NHL career. And his first game that he played 6 minutes and couldn't be trusted to be on the ice. It's not a great start 3 games in for Shane Wright, and I want to see if they just pull the chute and they don't have him up all year.
There was a video I saw. I can't remember who it was, but it was basically like Shane Wright only played 6 minutes. And before you criticize the coach for that, here's what he did during those 6 minutes. And the clips are not great.
No, he doesn't know how to play at the NHL level yet in those 6 minutes.
What's wrong with just letting him Tasmanian Devil the OHL this year? I mean,
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
developing any skills by being a healthy scratch 2 of 3 games.
no. And like, you're the Seattle Kraken. Like,
You could have been good.
and
But you chose
like,
not to be.
You're going to be youngish,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to get younger as the years go, which not many teams do. And Shane Wright's going to be a part of that. His development needs to be paramount for the team, and I don't really know how he's going to develop in the press box.
Yeah, and I you know what? I wonder with Shane Wright, before everybody goes writing him off, and I didn't mean that on purpose, but I don't know how else you'd say it.
Oh, it's his name!
You get it? I don't know if you remember, and you probably wouldn't, the 97-98 season.
No.
Had a bunch of hockey cards from Blockbuster that year because we'd go to Friday night, we'd go to Blockbuster, rent a movie, and I would get 1 pack of hockey cards as a treat.
When did we have the craft dinner hockey cards that you cut out of that?
Oh,
are
man,
awful.
Same time.
Those were amazing!
I
How
kept those.
dare you!
I kept those.
So did I.
So
Also the fish sticks one.
at that time, the Boston Bruins had 2 promising young players. One of them was a 1st overall pick, and his name was Joe Thornton. The other was an 8th overall pick, and his name was Sergei Samsonov. So they picked them both in the top 10.
I hate that I'm old enough to remember what you're about to say.
Now, Sergei Samsonov had a really great start. Shot 13%, 22 goals, 25 assists, 47 points in 81 games played in the dead puck era.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this is when Matt Sundin was like a top 5 player in the league and getting 82 points a year.
Sergei Samsonov was an unreal player.
Unreal. Fast, dynamic, incredible. Joe Thornton, in 56 games that year, had 7 points. 7 points. 3 goals, 4 assists. And people were like, is this guy trash? Did they make a huge mistake?
With the first overall pick.
Is in his second year, and by the way, Sergei Samsonov won the Calder that year. Second year, Sergei Samsonov, 79 games with the Bruins, 25 goals, 26 assists, 51 points this time.
Even better.
Joe Thornton, that same year, 2 more games, 81, 16 points, 25 assists. Sorry, 16 goals, 25 assists, 41 points. Great improvement. Still not as many points as Samsonov. The next year, Sergei Samsonov and Joe Thornton are on the same team. Samsonov, 77 games. Had to sit out a couple injury, whatever. 19 goals. It's the first time he scored less than 20. 26 assists, 45 points. Joe Thornton, 81 games, 23 goals, 37 assists, 60 points. The next year, Joe Thornton goes up to 71, and a couple years later, he hits 101, where Sergei Samsonov, a couple years later, gets to 70 and never gets over the 50-point barrier again in his career.
You just never know.
And you never know. So Shane Wright could be, and again, it's 3 games, who really knows? If Joe Thornton took 5 years to really hit his stride in the NHL, like be the 100-point Joe Thornton that we remember, it could be 5 years before Shane Wright does too. Mm-hmm. And I know Seattle fans are probably not overreacting, but I think we got to give this guy some space. What he went through, remember, the entire hockey world was watching that.
Guys like McDavid and Matthews screw it up for everybody, eh?
Well, yeah, because they step in and they're good. But look at what happened to Yakupov. Wasn't well protected. Don Cherry lit him up for no reason after he scored a spectacular goal and celebrated it. And they didn't get around him and support this guy. I think you're absolutely right. Send him down. Let him tear it up. Let him feel really good about himself. We'll see you next camp.
If you want a more recent example, you know who sort of, well, he wasn't as bad as Thornton was when he debuted, but he took a long time to hit his stride. Nathan MacKinnon. And now he's in the conversation for best player in the league. He's in every conversation for top 10 player in the league. And
yeah, how did the Avs have Nathan MacKinnon on such a great deal, Steve?
Because he had the dog shit season on a dog shit team and signed long term. Shame on you, whoever his agent is. and then next year he's going to be the highest paid player in the league after winning a cup. Life's pretty good for Nathan MacKinnon right now. You know, but those players are not there every year, and even when they are, they take a while to develop.
Yeah. That's why the McDavid draft was so special, because you had 2 at the top who were going to be franchise centermen. It was McDavid, Eichel.
And people still shit on Eichel like he sucks.
It's crazy. You look at his stats, he's amazing on terrible Buffalo teams.
Like, you put him up against, like, I'm trying to think of the saying with Eichel is he would go first overall in most years.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, no, that's bullshit. Or like, who would you rather build your team around from the moment they're 18 onward?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or Eichel?
Oh, Eichel.
Yeah, we'll leave Yakupov out of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Ekblad or Eichel? Maybe a more difficult one because one's a defenseman.
They would take the center.
Take the center.
Nico Hischier.
Center. Oh, center Hischier or Eichel?
Yeah.
Eichel.
It's a tough one, right?
Well, no, not really, because Eichel's played here. I'm just looking at his stats here. 412 career games. He has 383 points.
On a real
He's already got
team.
3 points this year. And just to give you an idea, McDavid has played 489 games, and he's had significant injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And he still played almost 60 games more than Jack Eichel, perhaps more. And now listen, he's got a lot more points, but we knew.
He's a mutant from some other nebula, and like he doesn't
5 points in 2 games this year.
Yeah, I feel like every first overall pick is held to that standard. And this is the mantle that Wright has to carry for the rest of his career. He was not picked first.
He was 4th.
He was fourth, but we still talk about him and treat him like he was first.
He was picked, I think, a pick after like Puljujarvi would have been picked. I think wasn't Puljujarvi's a third or a fourth?
Was
Pierre-Luc Dubois
fourth.
Was 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Laine was 2.
I don't know, Jesse. I think you're right.
Shane Wright
He's got to go down.
Isn't NHL ready just yet, and I think that is the point. That he has spent 6 minutes on NHL ice and has not looked good.
How many minutes?
He's spent 6 minutes and I think 14 seconds. 49 seconds.
Whatever.
There's a 4 in there. 6 something. And Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice.
Yes, that's how his old theme used to start. Yeah.
I remember that.
And he could probably be better served playing hockey and not chilling in a suit in a press box.
Yeah. I agree that like maybe the long-term plan is, no, we are going to get this guy into NHL games, but we want him to watch them first. Fine, that could work. But if we get to Halloween and you're still doing that, just send him back to Kingston and let him get like 50 goals.
If watching games was a prerequisite, then you would be in the NHL.
Hey,
you watch a lot of hockey.
I'm still under 40.
There you go.
So we got this on our Discord, back-to-back questions, sdpn.ca if you want to join us on the SDPN Discord. Jaikin Frog and Python3504 also both asked, can Justin Holl be a forward?
He was on 2 goals.
Is that where the team should be using him?
No.
Fourth line forward, Justin Holl?
No. Hockey is not at a point of creativity where that is a thing. The Leafs, in fact, are going the opposite direction where they're making forwards defensemen, not the other way around.
Yeah.
I think there was a time in his career and in hockey history where you could have Brent Burns'd Justin Holl into a really dynamic power forward, and he's almost 30, and I just don't think we're there.
I like the creativity, though.
I love the creativity.
I love thinking outside the box. Keep doing it.
No, I watch him play and his frame and his style, and I'm like, why couldn't he? Why?
Oh, he sure could. Listen, if you look at any player in the NHL, barring some exceptional circumstances, if they had been mentored from 16 to 18 at a certain position, could play that position.
He would have made more money.
Sure,
As a right-handed defenseman, that's a weird thing to say, but he would have made more money.
Probably.
He's the market inefficiency now.
Yeah. I think you do it with your super highly skilled players at the NHL level. Mitch Marner is a super highly skilled player.
Mm-hmm.
He could do that. You don't need, listen, I love Morgan Riley. Look at their power play if you don't include Morgan Riley. Mitch Marner could quarterback that. And you could argue.
He kind of does.
And you could argue that, like, is Riley their, so they got Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Marner. I guess Riley would be their 5th best player.
The most useful, the most useful thing Riley does on most power plays is
keep it in.
Keep it in.
He's the king of keeping that puck just so it's not offside.
Yeah,
he's amazing at that.
He traps it and the quick passes. He does a lot of quick passes, and we remember the 2 or 3 times a year he gets caught flat-footed and goes for a shorthanded breakaway. But he's effective back there. But in his little role, what was the question? Justin Holl. No,
probably not now. All
right, we'll end on this. This is from G20. It's a question for Adam.
Oh, okay.
Piggybacking off the conversation about the food prices at the Oilers game, do you know how much you're supposed to eat popcorn at the SAP Center in San Jose?
How much it costs to eat popcorn at the SAP Center?
Do you know how you're supposed to eat popcorn at the SAP Center in San Jose?
How you're supposed to eat?
How you're supposed to eat
your
it.
mouth.
How else would you eat? I don't know. Is there a thing?
One
with that?
hurtle at a time. It's supposed to be
it's
supposed to be like kernel.
No, you're making kernel.
Hey, you know what? That's a joke that's better written down than delivered.
Yeah.
Is that fair? It's a word.
It's a hard
but it's a good joke. I like it.
It's a joke that you have to read out loud to make it work. And if you did read it out loud, you would know the hurdle sounds nothing like kernel. Fuck, it kind of does.
You know what? It does. If it was an Eminem song, he could make it work.
Eminem would be able to do that. Also, happy 50th birthday to Eminem today.
Hey, is it his 50th birthday? Wow, he's 50.
B-Rabbit. B-Rabbit's 50 today,
what do you
everybody.
think B-Rabbit does for his birthday?
What does Eminem do for his birthday? That's a good question.
Pose very still with his eyes very wide open.
Have you guys seen that guy on TikTok? That's all he does. He gets like a million likes, and all he does is like everyday situations, and he raps like Eminem.
Yeah, I have seen.
He's actually really good.
Yeah.
Oh no! He makes me feel corny as hell for ever listening to him as a child.
Oh yeah,
as a literal baby child.
My favorite Eminem line of all time is that parking lot scene where he's like, "That's an awfully hot coffee pot." You remember that? And then it's just silence, and everybody's like, "Okay."
And his interview with I can't remember, but it was like a serious reporter.
60 Minutes.
Barbara Walters.
It was 60 Minutes. It was great.
I'm pretty sure it was Barbara Walters.
It pisses me off when people say you can't rhyme anything with orange. And then he goes on a freestyle about orange. And I'm like,
he didn't say it pisses him off. She asked him the question.
He said it pisses me off. He said it pisses me the fuck off, Barbara Walters.
I think he was very calm in that clip. I think so.
I don't think it was.
Isn't she the longtime host of 60 Minutes?
Well, yes, but yeah, it was a while ago too. It was Anderson Cooper.
Oh, was it Anderson Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh,
Anderson Cooper. It was from 2011. I remember I watched that live. I remember being like, I have to see this. So I don't know. I thought it was a good feature. You should watch the feature. It's a good feature. The whole feature is good.
I don't know. Steve, why are you so upset?
Yeah. It's an awfully hot coffee pot.
My grade 6 classmate got me the Marshall Mathers LP for Secret Santa one year. How
about the opening track on that album?
Jesus, I had just turned 12. And as an adult, I hope Leo never participates in Secret Santa. Holy shit.
That album was very, very dark. That was the first Eminem album I bought. And I remember going, "Oh, what is this?" I'd never heard of that.
I did not tell my parents.
The thing mentioned in the first track, I didn't know what that was.
Well,
so that was crazy. Anyway, listen, we'll leave it at that.
Happy 50th, Eminem.
Happy 50th, Eminem.
And in honor of that, Steve will eat Smarties.
Yeah, on mic.
You want me to eat Smarties? All right. I just finished it.
Do you like
Smarties?
M&M
Smarties?
I'll eat them.
M&M's or Smarties?
I can't eat Smarties. They're disgusting.
Yeah, I'm an M&M guy.
Yeah, M&M's all the way.
I think the key with M&M's is the M&M minis. They are elite.
Peanut.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.